Just as a side note, I just found out that this Emily Swaven um, Twitter account is a troll account, but I don't care because the thing is, this is how a lot of this stuff has gotten started before. Even the KKK was thought of as a joke, and minstrel shows were thought of as a joke. So for us in the black community, whenever we see this, we need to shut this down, whether it's a joke or not, whether it's trolling or not. And I'm gonna basically still continue to do this video because of it. I am not taking this as something that's benign. So I'm still gonna basically call this out as well as the other person. I just wanted to make a side note on this particular tweet and particular person, whether it's a real or fake person or not. The fact that they're using this to troll is sort of basically put as a talking point is still a red flag to me. Anyway, just, yeah, still phony outrage. So I thought I would put that as a side note at the beginning of this video because I found this out later. But I'm going to let the video go and just, yeah, I'll let the video explain itself. So here we go. Well, gang. Looks like we have some phony outrage here. These white supremacist type think that they're so slick, using talking points that have already been done away with. The latest one is to claim racism when basically there is no such thing as it when it comes to this particular issue. First of all, racism was coined by white people for white people. So even in the context of what racism is, you have to look at the etymology of that word. The etymology of that word speaks for itself, and it does not speak for any other point. You can't be black and be a racist is what I'm saying. You can be a bigot, you can be prejudiced, but you cannot be a racist because that word was coined in that terms. You can just look at the etymology of that. I should do a video on this. I think I've talked about this before, but anyway. So this person by the name of Emily Swaven, I don't know what the heck she is, but she had the nerve to say this. Yes, the K word is stronger than the N word. At least currently, misogyny, oh, there we go again, and patriarchy has been around for longer than slavery. Just don't use it either, okay? Shut the hell up, dude. First of all, Karen, that's what she's talking about, is a freaking name. And it's a name to basically, I mean, it's a name. And it has nothing to do or of any kind of strongness above the N word. This is some basic white supremacist woman telling me that Karen has the same equivalent as the N word. No freaking racist white woman has ever been hung for being a racist white woman. That's what a Karen is. No one has had laws against them and all kinds of attacks on them because they were called Karen. That is a name. Now, granted, we're taught when we call somebody that, we're calling them that because we're pointing out their toxic nature and anti-black racist nature at that. Being a Karen is just that. Now, these people don't want to be called out on their racism, so they have this phony outrage, and then they want to disguise it as if they are, people that call them that are being misogynist or racist. And, it's just like, really? Look at what this thing is saying. Please stop saying Karen. Karen is a sexist and racist term equivalent to the N-word for white women. No, it isn't. There is no equivalent to the N-word for white anybody. Calling a woman a Karen is an attempt to get rid of the woman's right to stand up for themselves. That's BS. Because there's black women that will also call you a Karen because you're being a freaking racist pig. This is ridiculous. They don't like anyone speaking up against racism, period. No, Karen, when we say Karen, which is a name, it is not the N-word. It has no connotation of the N-word at all. And it's calling out a racist. It's like calling someone a racist, pretty much. A racist white woman. Yeah, we're going to call you a Karen if you're acting like one. It is not something that is the equivalent of someone calling me the N-word because I am black. Please. And these same women, they always have this thing where they want to make black people more powerful than them. Please, white women have had more power than black people, period. And seriously, when you look at it, they were right alongside of the white man when it came to these lynchings and all that, and have the same white supremacist ideology. Now, if you're a non-racist white woman, fine. But the thing is, if you are, this is what you are. You are a Karen. And luckily, they're using a regular name. They're not using the B word. There's nothing misogynist or racist about this name. It is actually calling out racism. Please, all of these white feminists will always try to come off as if they are some kind of victim of black people, especially black men, when that is not the case. How many black men were killed over white women? This is totally ridiculous, and it's phony outrage. It has no equivalent to the N-word. How many people have died over being called Karens versus being called the N-word? No one. Save the BS. Emily Swaven, whatever the heck your name is, it's total rubbish. When you hear that word Karen, and all of us know, whether you're a man or a woman, black man or black woman, and even all my white friends that have used this against white racist people, white racist women. Basically, we're not letting them off the hook because they are women if they are white and racist. That's what a Karen actually is. Yeah, too many examples of that. Karen Brian Dunham being one of them. And there are modern examples like Amy Cooper. That is a Karen. What the hell is sexist and misogynist about calling some devil-ass racist a racist in that context? Please. Phony outrage. Let's move on to this next. Phony outragers, or phony outrageouses. Douglas K. Murray. This guy thinks that he could change the meaning of reparations. Imagine that. But then again, he's totally in the lines of, I'm white and I say so. He's saying reparations aren't about justice. They're an act of revenge. Show me in the dictionary where it says reparations is an act of revenge by definition. I don't think so. So that right then and there, that's a complete lie. And he wrote this whole hit piece in the New York Post. And it was the total black boogeyman, like white fear insider type article. It was silly. Just ridiculous. The dude's not even from America. He's from England. So he's just sounding the alarm for a place that he doesn't even live in. I mean, dude, the fear. Look at this fear. Talk about man, just the silliest thing. I guess he fears that a lot of the black Brits will take note from us foundational black Americans and do what they need to do by hitting the British government up for their reparations. And they should. But anyway, he says this, and there's another tweet that this fear-mongering jackwrench did, like bitching and moaning about somebody criticizing his trash that he wrote. He says, and then he tries to gaslight this person. That's another thing too. Pocket watching and gaslighting. White supremacist techniques, that's what they do. That's just one of many dumb techniques that they do. Here it is. One online critic of this piece is now reciting ancient evils which she did not suffer, and linking at the end to her Cash App. What to say about people who open up wounds they did not suffer, cry about their pain, and then link you to their Cash App. Well, what to say about people that never suffered anything as far as like revenge, reparations being revenge? You're just totally drumming up something that you never even suffered from, and making up definitions that for words that don't even exist. Talk about lying and drumming up stuff. And as far as wounds, the wounds were never closed. This clown, I mean, it's funny. These clowns think after the Civil War everything was peachy keen, or after after civil rights, like things were so civil. Both instances after were not civil, and history could even show you that. With all the stuff that black people went through from that time to even the civil rights thing, and even after that up till to this day, are you serious, dude? The wounds never closed. Being lynched, having Jim Crow laws against us, having convict leasing, being targeted for everything based on our skin color. Are you serious? Being considered non-human? People couldn't even, oh wow, dude. Like black people couldn't even freaking like hang out. Are you serious, dude? Unarmed black men being killed by the police. Freaking black business owners being like targeted for nuisance ordinances and all that, and having their property taken away. No, the wounds never closed. Then this clown had the nerve to try to, it's funny, his whole article, he goes through the whole golden oldies of, all the golden oldies, all the golden white supremacist talking points. He had the nerve to do the whole minority, model minority myth when it comes to talking about Asians versus black people. First of all, the Asians did not suffer what we did. I'm not taking away from what they suffered, but it was not the same way. Blacks were totally locked out of a lot of the opportunities that Asians got. And even after they started giving these opportunities, which they totally, of course it was a game, blacks fought for those rights that even a lot of the Asians are benefiting from right now. But the same thing happened, when it comes to discrimination. Yeah, they got discriminated against, but it was never on the level that black people did. Blacks were locked out of society. Blacks were considered non-human. Blacks were treated far worse. And then after Asians were allowed to kind of be getting some wiggle room, it was used against blacks to the point where even some of them started saying that they didn't want to go to school and be corrupted by filthy black people based off of, the whole white supremacist structure. And it's funny, during the civil rights movement, they tried to, white supremacist society had the nerve to try to use the talking point that Asians have suffered and now they're upward and mobile and they're doing better than blacks, and blacks, aren't doing anything. Well, they didn't have the same thing happen that we did. They didn't have certain, they weren't locked out of economic opportunities like we have been. It's disingenuous to even compare the two. It's silly. And then they were given money, and then even some of them have gotten reparations. So, it's just like, this guy thinks that he can try that on us, when we all know our history, and history speaks for itself, and even some Asians have called that out. Shout out to all my Asian friends that have, or people that I don't know that have called this devilish tactic out by these white supremacists. And this guy's trying to carry that on, not knowing, maybe he does know, but he probably thinks that he's trying to keep hope alive with his BS. Maybe not knowing that it's already been debunked. Then he tried to use another dumb argument that a lot of them try to pull wool over our faces, and it doesn't work. Saying that Africans enslaved other Africans and Arabs enslaved Africans. I'll tell you this. It wasn't the Africans that financed the whole system of slavery worldwide and called it a peculiar institution and called it a necessary evil in America. It was the Europeans that went over to Africa, not only enslaved people here in America, but also over there, and then colonized the place. How dare you even try? Dude, you can't, I mean, they love to deflect. These white supremacist types love to deflect and try to boogeyman black people, as they always have, and try to basically, like, they try to negate their due, as if like it was the big bad black men that made them do that, when they came over here and there was no Africans or Arabs telling them to do that over here in America, let alone making a whole system of white supremacy and black inferiority to keep slaves, and then after that using that same ideology to keep black people subjugated. I won't even say nice try, I would just say dumb try. A lot of people are hip to the stupid ideologies and have already debunked all of his talking points. If you guys can, check out Tariq Nasheed's broadcast on this clown. It's all phony outrage, man. When it comes to black reparations, I mean, dude, black reparations are definitely needed, with all the stuff that not only we have faced from back then, but also up to now, to the point where the economic wealth gap does not rule in our favor, and it was a concerted effort to keep us as an underclass when it comes to the wealth gap, which is also getting even wider even as we speak to this day. So Douglas K. Murray, you seriously need to just sit down and shut up, dude. Seriously. You sound like a whining brat. Just spitting out anything and throwing crap against the wall to see what sticks. We're already on to you, dude. We're on to your talking points. We've already debunked them, and we're laughing at your dumb behind. So, my foundational black American family, yeah, keep on striving for these reparations, because, yeah, they're owed. If anyone else, by the way, yes, as I mentioned earlier, the Asians, especially the Japanese, got their reparations. And even before that, they were allowed more wiggle room than we were. You know, I don't take away from people suffering, but don't you ever say anything about foundational black Americans when you don't even know our history. They're trying to bury our history by calling it critical race theory, and they don't want us to talk about what we know. But we will teach the next generation, no matter what. There's a lot of us that still not only have people that are connected to that history, but also have had our own experiences from this system of white supremacists. And we won't stop talking about it. So yeah, no tangibles, no votes. Yes, foundational black American reparations now. And I will always speak about that, no matter what. Anyway, you guys, I just thought I would kind of put these phony outragers on notice. Peace.